Bonjour, bonsoir, dear friends from the beautiful state of California. This is March 8th. This is a JCB Live with an amazing guest, an incredible guest, a phenomenal guest, an extraordinary guest, a guest full of surprise, illusion, a man who's going to allow you to look at the world in a very different way. He's a true surrealist. He's an impressionist. He's the man who can make things appear and disappear. He's been a friend of mine for over a decade. He's one of the most well-known in the world of magic, one of the most charismatic illusionists in the world of the United States of America. He's been the magician of all the stars, of the Rolling Stones, of many others, and he has a lot of story to share. I'm delighted, dear friend, on this fruit day, this ascending moon. As you can see, I have feathers in the sky. He keeps them in the sky like this. The famous California multiple generation Jay Alexander.
John Charles, how are you? It's so good to see you.
Jay, I cannot tell you how excited I am to appear and disappear in your presence. So today you're going to make me appear and disappear many times, right?
I don't want to make you disappear because there's too much wine to drink, but we're going to have fun today. Absolutely, we're going to have fun today.
So Jay, show me how you pop that cork, because I know your hands are magic. Don't hurt them because we need them.
Definitely need them. Here we go.
I know you're undressing that beautiful bottle. Ooh la la, that bottle of Cabaret.
This bottle's amazing. How beautiful is that with the feather? Like Cabaret bubbles.
And Jay, it's in your honor. You know why? Because I want everybody to know, and we're going to do a live event together in May at your beautiful Cabaret in San Francisco. Before we get started, tell everyone the beautiful Cabaret you have in the city of San Francisco.
Sure. So I have a theater and a lounge called the Marrakesh Magic Theater. I bought the theater it's 5 years ago now. And we're up until COVID, we did 400 shows a year at the theater. It's the #1 show on Yelp and TripAdvisor. It's a whole experience. You come inside, you have food and drinks in my lounge, then everyone goes into the theater for the show. And it's a very interactive show. It's not just a typical magic show. I worked hard to create a show that's about the audience, where people get to play together and their minds are read. They laugh. It's a full experience that people have a great time. Whoa. And then the champagne is open. I get so excited talking about the show.
The magician himself gets surprised by his own tricks. That's going to be the only magic Jay does not master today. The effect of the illusion of the bubbles, Jay. I love it. Cheers.
Cheers. Good to see you.
So Jay, how do we become Jay Alexander? How does that start? A few decades ago.
So I'm 11 years old. My grandfather, Joseph Pfeffer, took me to the Houston Music Hall to see a magician named Doug Hinning. A long-haired hippie magician from Canada, had a show on Broadway, very successful show. And he was touring the country. And I went to see the show and I watched him. He cut a woman in half. He made a woman float. He made an elephant disappear in the show. But then he sat down at a table. And in those days, you didn't see cameras that were close up in theaters very often with big projection screens. It has close-up magic. And he did a couple things that were just simple using everyday objects. And I loved the big illusions, but I really loved the intimacy and elegance of how he could take an everyday object and create what looked like a miracle. And I watched the show that day and I just fell in love with magic. I turned to my grandfather afterwards. I go, Papa, I want to be a magician. It was my 11th birthday. And afterwards he said, come on, we're gonna go to the Galleria. It's a shopping mall. And at the mall, he bought me a magic set. And I just fell in love with the magic set. But also my great-grandfather was a vaudeville performer. His name was Ben Darwin. He was a strongman in vaudeville. And so we had things around the house of his. So the idea of being a performer always just had this really romantic, incredible thing to me where I just thought, this seems so cool. But when I saw Doug Hinney, it all came together. I got the magic set and I started playing with it every day. And I'd go with my mother to work. She had a children's shoe store, and I'd show customers the magic at the store. And basically, I have not stopped playing with that magic set. It just, the magic has gotten more elegant and more, more amazing. But it's that same feel I have every single day getting to do the magic that I had as an 11-year-old kid. And I put myself through college doing it, moved to San Francisco from Texas at 18, and did all through college. And afterwards, I realized this is what I want to do. And I quit my job, and I've been doing it ever since. Pretty early on, I met, ended up performing for the Rolling Stones. That took me on 3 US tours, performing backstage, doing special events for them. I worked for Robin Williams for 20 years at doing his private parties, and got to open up for him a couple times, and spent my whole life just performing everything from cruise ships to, then opening up my own theater. And
this is amazing. You're really living the dream. So, Jay, before we dive into more magic, what is to be a magician? Because this is very unique. All our friends with us from all around the world are dreaming to play tricks, to be talented in illusion, to be talented in telepathy, to be knowledgeable about that field that appears so unreachable, so difficult to grasp. Tell us what it's about.
Well, for me, it's about taking people on a journey and creating an experience both in their mind and in their heart, and make people laugh and just have this great time. It's to me, it's not about the tricks. It's about how do you take people on a journey and have a good time. You've seen my show many times. It's a mixture of magic and psychology. It's not just a typical magic show. I'm mixing magic and psychology and lies and influence to create something that I call mind tricks live. And here, can I show you something? We would try something?
Oh, I'm dying.
Fantastic. Tell you what. All right. We're going to play the word association game. I don't know if you ever played it, where somebody says a word, you say the first word that comes to your mind. So I might say white, you say black, or I say white, you might say snow. There's no wrong answers. So here's the thing. I wrote down earlier on a piece of paper one word. I put a paper clip on it. And one thought, one idea is on here, but we're not going to worry about that yet. We're going to get to it in a moment. But one thing is on this piece of paper. We're going to play the word association game. I'm going to start by saying the word monkey. What is the first word that comes to your mind when you hear the word monkey?
Donkey.
Donkey. Fantastic. You think donkey, so which makes me think of Mexico. When you hear the word Mexico, what do you think?
Morocco.
Morocco. Fantastic. You think Morocco. So I think of my theater, because my theater is called the Marrakesh Magic Theater, which is a Moroccan-themed theater. So I think theater. What do you think when you hear the word theater?
I think performance.
Performance. That's amazing. So we started with the word monkey, and we ended with the word performance. We went around, and lots of different ideas we explored there, but we ended with the word performance.
Yes.
Let me show you something. I've been holding this piece of paper.
Don't tell me it's on
the entire time. One word I wrote down before we began.
Unbelievable.
Performance.
So, Jay, how did he take me from monkey to donkey to this whole evolution? Is there something you want to explain us, at least in the thought process? That's amazing.
No, it's magic. It's taking your mind. It's getting you to think of things. Thank you though. It's all about, it's about magic and making.
Have you thought getting into politics?
Pardon me?
Maybe you should manipulate the mind of our governor. That could help.
You think so? So we could open up earlier?
Exactly. We want to open up. But that's quite amazing. Wow. That's an incredible journey. How old were you when you really started to play with this influence of your mind? So rather than just purely
making things appear and disappear in regular magic. So I had a mentor that I met when I was 13 years old, and he did a style of magic called mentalism, which he would not teach me as a kid. He felt that that was when you're older, something you do. But I have really bad dyslexia, and he started teaching me about mnemonic memory systems. And that's kind of what started getting me into a little bit more things about the mind. Was once he passed away, I started looking into what he did. But even before that, he would, because I was having such a hard time in school because of my dyslexia, he was teaching me about mnemonic memory systems, ways to remember things easily and quickly. And a lot of the stuff that I got into was because of that. So I was probably about 13 when the first thing he did was he basically would have me write down, or he would write down a list of 20 things. It could be a grocery list. It could be just random objects. And the idea was I had to look at it and memorize it really quickly. And then basically I took that and started using it for school on how to remember things I needed to remember for school. But that's when I first started doing it. But I wasn't using it in my show, and I probably didn't use it in my show until my early 20s is when I started playing with this and figuring out, how do I put this in my show? And the older I got, the more I started realizing the stuff he never taught me was the stuff I was really interested in. And so my show looks more like the kind of thing he was doing and working on and going towards. And I now feel like I just stand on his shoulders to do the magic. It's like,
that's amazing. So mentorship is very important. Are you yourself mentoring the next generation as well of magician?
I've mentored many kids, and a lot of them are now adults doing it full time professionally. But I've mentored many people. I feel giving back to people, and it's a thing of, as I teach somebody, I learn more than it's half the time I realize I'm getting more out of teaching somebody than they are, because it makes me rethink. It makes me rethink what I'm doing and why I'm doing it as I'm telling them what to do.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Now, Jay, on that first unbelievable performance, did you ever miss? I've seen you doing 7, 8 times. I've never seen you with crowd of 100. And reminder, March 21st, we're going to be together on a great show, 5 to 7 p.m. So, dear friends, you got to dial in. You must buy a ticket. This is going to be one ticket to one of the best journey ever. You must join us. I've never seen you fail, Jay, on this one. Have you ever?
It happens sometimes. It's not always. It's not a perfect science. It absolutely. There's times where I fail. Here, you want to see something else?
I would be excited.
All right. So I had this weird dream, and you were in it. And it sounds a little strange, but
I'm honored.
You're honored. Thank you. And in my dream, you were in it, and you were wearing this wild-looking coat. It was a jacket that just like actually that is the jacket you had in my dream. And in my dream, you're in Europe, and you got off of a train at one of these beautiful old train stations. You look at a clock on the wall. You notice the time is wrong on the clock. I want you to imagine that you're looking at a clock. You see the time on the clock. It's a big round clock. You see the time.
I have it.
Wrong. You got a time in your mind? Don't say it, just think it. So this is what happened. You notice time is wrong. You look at it, you make a note of it. You walk down the street.
Look.
As you walk down, you reach in your pocket. You notice you had a deck of cards. You had no clue where the deck came from. You're holding the deck of cards. You open it up. You look at one card. It has a big X on it. You turn it upside down. You put it back in. Imagine you're looking at the card.
Yeah.
Remember the card you put in upside down.
I see it.
Good. Here's the weird thing. I woke up from my dream, and I had this deck of cards. I had the deck of cards sitting in my hand. Also, there was a watch on it. Here's the thing. When you looked at the clock, what time was it on the clock? 11:11. So interesting. You could have picked any time you wanted. You picked 11:11. My watch is stopped at 11:11.
I cannot believe it.
11.
That's
But here's
insane.
the thing. You reach into your pocket, you had that deck of cards, you took one card out, it had an X on it. You put it upside down in the deck. What was the card you saw?
Queen of Heart.
That is exactly what it was in my dream. Thank you. You might not
And dear
believe
friends,
this.
we have not talked before the show. We have not exchanged a phone call. This is live as we live it. I love it.
Queen of Hearts. Let me show you something. If I go through this deck of cards, you will notice one card is upside down, only one card.
Correct.
One card with an X. And that card is the Queen.
This is insane. I don't believe it. And there's no way to cheat. We probably 50 miles away from one another.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to know we're not close at all. We haven't talked about any of this. I had no idea if Jay was going to perform because it's all about the world of magic and illusion. And look at that. 2 out of 2. You got me.
There you go.
So, Jay, how do you think about the process of creation? Because, it's amazing. You always come up with new ideas and new performance, new vision of the world. Explain us what goes into your mind as a creator.
As a creator, so that's interesting. I feel that it's all the things around me that I kind of try to bring in, all the things I love, from art and architecture. I love design. I try to bring all those things in and kind of mix them all together. And I don't create anything new. I think very few people create something completely new. It's how do you take little pieces from here and there and put them all together to create something that's fresh and feels new, but it's, and it isn't new because it's never been seen like this before, but it's the, I think it's, where do you draw inspiration from? And for me, it's watching other artists, not magicians, but going out and seeing great art at a museum or music or nature. And, looking at a flower and seeing all the colors and figuring out, oh, those are the perfect colors. It's to make something, for designing something, I look at it, I'm like, oh, all those colors of the flower, they're perfect. They've created this, perfect palette that I can then use to create what I want. And so, I think that whole idea of creation and creating magic, and, I like to do things that either are real or feel real, and mixing it all together. So it's a mixture of the human lie detection that I do on my show and influence with magic. And so when you create all those things together, people are watching, they're like, was that real? Was it not real? And that's the kind of thing I really love is taking people on that journey and having their minds just blown because they're not sure what they're watching or seeing at the moment.
How often do you actually yourself feel you are in real versus the real?
Do I feel what? I lost you for a second. One more time.
How often do you actually feel that you are in the real or the unreal? And you are in the
unreal all the time. I think that's a big part of my life is the unreal and kind of playing with what's reality and what's not reality and bringing it all, I'm not sure. And it's just, I feel like I want to be Peter Pan the rest of my life.
And who has been for you the biggest influence as one of the greatest magicians of all time?
Oh, there's lots of them, actually, but there's wow, well, my favorite would still be Doug Henning, who the first magician I ever saw, and I watch videos of him still today, and he believed in magic. He was like a kid who had this childlike wonder when he was performing, and he could be doing something with a silk scarf and just would feel by today's standards so cheesy, but he believed in it. When he made the scarf disappear, he felt he was doing real magic, and his whole body, it showed in his expression and everything that you went with him. You believed in it also. And so probably my favorite magician would be him for that. There's a magician from England named David Burgess, who in the 50s and 60s had TV specials there. And he did a lot more stuff that was about the mind, which is similar to what I do in my show. And so he would be one of the other people that one of the giants that I feel like I stand on his shoulders when I perform. And, you know, what I liked about him was he was a thinking man's magician or thinking person's magician. And I really loved when I first saw him perform. I was like, oh, I've never seen it like this. It's people still think of magic being for kids, and it's not. Yeah. It's to bring the kid-like wonder in everybody out. And I don't even think I like to even say it's kid-like wonder. It's just wonder. And how do you bring that out in people and have that joy and fun?
Absolutely. And how do you actually recommend we get into magic ourselves? If we want to learn magic, what's the best way to do it?
The best way is people want to go to YouTube and things like that. It's not. There are books you can find in any bookseller that and I still think, and it's funny for me to say that because I have bad dyslexia and had a hard time learning from books, but it's still the best way because you kind of read it and you put your own spin on it. If you watch a video, people usually learn it the exact same way it's always been done before. But when you read it in a book, you've got to kind of use your imagination a little bit to figure out, how do I perform this in a better way? And I still think that is the best way to learn. And it's up. Can I show you another one?
Oh, I would love to.
All right.
I'm sure everybody's dreaming for more.
Oh,
we don't want to abuse of your generous, phenomenal gift, but we love it.
Thank you. So the memory match game was a game that you played. A lot of people played as a child. I did it. I'm sure you probably did too. We had a bunch of cards. You probably played this with your kids. You have a bunch of cards you put on a table. You turn over two and you try to find a match. And if they match, you get to keep them. If not, you turn them back face down and someone else picks up two. And you try to remember where all the cards are. So if you pick up one here, you remember the match is there. We're going to play a game similar to that, but this isn't the memory match game. It's more like the psychic match game. Let me show you. What I've got are 6 cards.
Yeah.
Grapes and bottle, corkscrew, glass, cheese, barrel. Matches for each one of them. So if I told you now, where's the match, you would know that this matches that. I'm going to mix these up. And what's going to happen is you're going to use your intuition to figure out where the match is. I have one card here. It might be on grapes, bottle, corkscrew, glass, cheese, or barrel. Which one do you think matches this one?
Corkscrew.
Corkscrew. Now, I was keeping it over here, so it might have influenced you not to stay there, but to go over here. You could have picked any one you wanted.
Yeah.
Do you want to stay there or do you want to change your mind?
I'll stay there.
I'm so glad you said that because that one is correct.
And I knew you were trying to get me to leave, but I wanted to stay. Yes, I believed in it.
All right, let's try this again.
Good move. Ooh la la.
Grapes, bottle, corkscrew, glass, cheese, or barrel. You get to choose, my friend.
Barrel.
Barrel. Nice one. Cheese, glass, corkscrew, bottle, or grapes?
Bottle.
Bottle. Cheese, glass, corkscrew, or grapes?
Cheese.
Glass, corkscrew, or grapes?
Grape.
Nice. Corkscrew or glass?
Glass.
That leaves this to be corkscrew. We can keep them there or we could switch to. It's up to you. Let's
switch.
Which two?
The bottle to the cheese.
The bottle to the cheese.
Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da.
I am so glad you that, my friend, because we now have grapes that is correct, bottle that is correct, corkscrew that is correct, glass. Keep it or change it?
Keep it.
I'm so glad because that is correct. Cheese is correct. Barrel is correct. I don't know how you do it. Every single one. You are unbelievable, Jean-Charles.
I think it gets better.
You freak me out.
Jay Alexander be so good? I mean, that's amazing.
I didn't do it. You did this, my friend. I have no clue how you did it.
No, I did not. Jay, tell us what goes in the brain at the moment you really ask me, do you want to change it? You want to keep it? You want to change it? Just walk us through the psychological process of this.
It's sometimes I say it in a way that I know I want you to feel like you have a free choice. There are no free choices. I mean, there are, but there's kind of like, I know the psychology that how I ask you if you're going to do it, if you're not going to do it. And I do sometimes I get that completely wrong, but when you get it right, well, it's so much fun, isn't it?
That's amazing. Hey, Jay, I'd love for you to describe this glass of bubble, though. The Cabaret. I want you to describe it in a magical, illusionist way.
In a magical,
just use your way. Yeah, you're gonna have more.
I better have more.
Remember, it's a fruit day. You're gonna have the fruit of Mother Nature. I mean, that's amazing. God, I'm impressed. We've done 3. You get 100% already.
Well, thank you. The bubbles. Wow, it's wondrous. It's
I like that word, wondrous.
It is wondrous.
Does it have legs? Remember, it's Cabaret.
It is Cabaret. It's got legs and wings. Then, if it's a Cabaret, it's I think I'm just.
What does it make you think?
It's quite smooth. When you drink it, I think I just think wondrous. It's a very fresh. It feels fresh.
I love it. It's going to be my new term to describe Le Cabaret, all the way from Napa Valley, as we know. So, Jay,
yes.
Now, in terms of illusion, how do you practice? How do you explain us your routine as an amazing magician and one of the best in the United States, if not the best?
Thank you. How do I practice? Well, a lot of times it starts with a simple idea, and you just keep developing and developing it. And I'll start by showing kind of friends and family at first, and then I just go out. I mean, there's no way to do it other than to try it. Just go out there and do it. When I was younger, I'll tell you my big secret when I was younger was I would just go perform anywhere and everywhere, and I would be doing a paid show one night, and then I'd go out when I was in college, right after college, I go to Fisherman's Wharf and street perform because I felt like I just needed an audience, and I could be bad and things could go wrong, and it was fine. It didn't matter. And now as I've gotten older and have a career, it's a little bit harder. But I'm also at the theater when you do 400 shows a year. Every night I would try to put in one new thing and I'd work on it for a little while. And because I thought if you put it somewhere in the middle, you have this great show, people aren't going to notice if it's not as good as much. So, and then once it's in there, you start to see like it slowly get better, or pretty quickly you realize this isn't going anywhere and you stop. But I've had some things that I was so sure was going to be good, and I put in the show and it just doesn't work. So I take it out for a while, and it might be a year later, 2 years later, I put it in for a while, take it back out, put it back in. And then all of a sudden, the third, fourth, fifth time, it's like, it's the best thing in the show. And you're like, I don't know why it didn't work for me.
So you never know.
Huh?
You never know unless you go out with it.
You've got to try it. You got to keep trying it. Sometimes they're just like little tweaks. I'm sure it's like creating great wines where sometimes you just have to make a little tweak to something. And it's just like, that was the magic. That did it.
That's right. It's the same with wine. Now, Jay, what is the most amazing memory as a magician you've ever had? One of the most extraordinary time that you said, I cannot believe I did this, and I saw the crowd describe it to us. And
I've had a few, and I've had some that were gigantic. One of them that was the first night I worked for the Rolling Stones. It was at the Fillmore here in San Francisco, and I did a routine where I have somebody take a deck of cards, they sign their name on a card, put it back in the deck, it's shuffled, and then I put a rubber band around the cards and I throw it up at the ceiling, and it hits the ceiling and all the cards fall down and one card sticks to the ceiling. and it has their signature on it. And I've got a big crowd around me, and I did it with Mick Jagger, and his card's there, and everyone's going crazy. And they ended up taking a frame, taking the back off the frame, which is the glass, putting it on the ceiling, drilling it into the ceiling, and having this one card with my signature on it, or his signature on it, up there. So it became, and I loved it because it became a piece of art in the Fillmore with all these great posters.
That's brilliant.
And that was one that was big with a celebrity. One of my other favorite moments was I did a show for a school for children with autism. And so I go there and they're filming a little documentary about the school at the same time, but it had nothing to do with that. There was one kid there who was 17 years old who could barely hold a conversation with you, couldn't focus. But he had he was like a human calendar, and he would say, and I'm showing them the magic, and he's going crazy and having so much fun. And I'm loving the fact that I would do some small little magic trick, and he would just blow up and have so much. He was like laughing and jumping up and down. And then afterwards, he was going to show me that he's a human calculator. And basically, I took my phone and I'd go through it and I'd say, April 4th, 1975. And he goes, Tuesday. And he was almost like a Rain Man. And that was the most magical thing I had ever seen, because I was like, here I'm doing all this magic about the mind. And his mind only worked in one way really well. But it was this incredible thing. And so I'm like, all right, September 23rd, 1950. And he goes, Thursday. And I'm like, yep, looking at the phone. And so that was one of those great memories where it was my magic. But to me, it was the most magical moment. And then afterwards, the teacher at the school, it's like a 1-to-1 ratio of teachers to students, says to me that he could do this, but he doesn't usually talk. And I'm the first person that he's talked to in like 5 years. She's like with him every day. And I was like, you know what? This is better than any magic I've ever done, was the fact that I could create some excitement in this kid that got him talking to me. And
how fulfilling.
Yeah.
How amazing.
It really was.
I agree with you. Well, congratulations. 2 amazing memories. Hey, Jay, I know you love red wine.
I do.
And I know you're a big fan of the Calistoga from Raymond. So I suggest maybe we have a little toast with that, and you tell us if you could turn it to white or rosé.
Turn what?
I know you could do that through fermentation.
Yes.
And that matched perfectly your environment of red, white, and velvet.
This is great. Look at a dark, beautiful purple color that is. Well, tell me what's in this. Tell me more about this.
Well, so this is 100% Cabernet, Napa Valley, as you love it. And we wanted a rich, powerful, with beautiful, a little bit of eucalyptus type of flavor behind, a little bit of mint, nice toastiness, good oak, and maybe some magic, because it comes from the volcano of Calistoga, Mount Santa Helena. So this is the ultimate point of Napa Valley. And we thought for you, the ultimate man of magic, you had to have the ultimate, the highest, the most powerful.
Well, thank you. It's fantastic.
Thank you. So, Jay, do you want to leave us with one more?
Absolutely. I would love to. So here's the thing. Behind me, there's a box, and it's been here, hanging here the entire time we've been talking.
Yeah.
Move this out of the way. 1 second.
God, I love your set. What a
Thank
great
you. This is,
so we are
this
in
is
the
living
theater
room
right now.
Pardon me?
We are in the theater now.
No, this is actually just the living room. This is a floating house in Sausalito.
Oh, that's right. You live in a floating house.
Yes, this is
I love it.
This is like basically it's like a boat without an engine.
So cool.
Thank you. So here's what's going to happen. If I want you to, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. So let me first tell you about the box. That is a box where I keep my future memories. And I know that sounds weird, but my future memories are things that I want to happen or see happening, and I hope it's going to happen in the future. So here's the thing. If I asked you a question like your favorite place you've ever gone on a vacation in your life, Do you have a favorite place?
Yeah, absolutely. Mars.
Mars. You went to Mars.
That's
Yeah.
my dream.
That's your dream?
The moon or Mars.
Moon or Mars. That's good. And you're going to go to Mars. And if you're going to play, like, you're going to take a celebrity with you. Who would you take with you?
Jay Alexander.
Jay Alexander. So you and I are going to Mars. Fantastic. And on Mars, we're going to play a game, a sport. Now, I'm not much of a sports person, but if we're going to do something active, what would we do?
Badminton.
Badminton on Mars, you and I.
Why not?
So here's the thing. As I said, this is my box of future memories. Future memories. Well, in a moment, they're not going to be future memories. They're just going to be now memories. And after that, they will be real memories. Let me show you something. You could have said anything. You said Mars. You said badminton. You and I going together. But see, it's not just that. There's a lot more to this. Let me show you.
I love when it gets better, dear friends. This is amazing.
Here we go. This box has been hanging in there the entire time.
Yeah.
It's locked. I'm going to unlock it. Inside of the box is a glass jar.
Yes.
With an envelope where I wrote my future memories. You see,
Yeah.
it's not just about what we just talked about. It's about everything. It's about bubbles. It's about performance. Earlier, you talked about performance. It's about 11/11, the time you chose. It's
Unbelievable. I'm
a
shivering.
spectacular jacket. It's about wondrous corkscrew, Mars, Jay Alexander, and Batman. My friends, this is not a memory. This is now, and that is magic.
This is insane. Jay, this is, I mean, you honestly giving me shivers right now. So insane this is. So unprepared we were, not that we've talked at all today and in the last few weeks.
Not at all.
Dear friends, I know you all around the world wondering, who is this man? He's all about magic and illusion. I told you it was going to be amazing. Jay, this is so crazy.
And here's the thing. If people don't believe it, they think we were set up on any of this, which it wasn't. I think they should come see our show together. And that way they can see it.
You know what? I'm so excited. So we're going to do, dear friends, in May, as the city of San Francisco reopens, we're going to start at Jay Alexander Phenomenal Theater. And then we're going to go to the JCB Lounge at the Ritz-Carlton, where we will be hosting you for a great party. So it's going to be so fun. But before that...
Oh, okay, go on. Go on.
No, please, Jay.
No, but before that, we're doing something else together.
Exactly. March 21st, Jay and I, 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. This day we'll be actually physically together prior to a fantastic dinner we're going to have. And we're going to be not only talking wine, but more importantly, magic and illusion. So all of you need to get a ticket because you're going to receive some wines. So you're going to order now. As you see on your screen, it is here on your screen. You click, you buy the kit. Don't open all the kit because there's a lot of surprise in it. It's going to be one of the most fun moment of 2021 ever. And you want to be with us that night, 5 to 7 Pacific, March 21st. So Jay, do you want to give just a little insight of what's going to happen that night?
If you liked what you saw tonight or on this, you're going to love it there because they're going to see some of the same. It's going to see different. It's going to be exciting, and everybody, people that are in the audience, will get to help and be part of it. So if they don't believe it, which if you don't, please come. You'll see for yourself. Your minds will be read, but more than anything else, you'll laugh. We'll have some wine and some bubbles and have a great time together.
And there's a surprise wine that you cannot unwrap till you share the moment with Jay and I. So,
Absolutely.
Jay, maybe one last question. If you
Yes.
if you have one more second, on what message would you like to give to everybody? I mean, you started with a dream at 11 years old. You became who you wanted to become. You've lived your dreams in many ways. You took the risk and you made it in a big way. What advice, recommendation, inspiration message do you want to send to everybody with us tonight?
You know, I'll tell you what, I'm a big believer in following your dreams and following your passion, but I also hate when people say follow your dreams and follow your passion, because it's too often feels like that's it's too open-ended. It's like, make a plan for your dream and your passion and work hard at it every day, and then you can reach something. Otherwise, it's just a dream. And I don't want dreams. I want dreams to become reality. And so I'm always a big fan of, like, anything is possible. I was an 11-year-old kid who was shy and had dyslexia, and the last thing you ever thought I would do would be on stage performing. But I did have such a passion for it, and I had support of my family, that amazing things can happen. But it doesn't happen, you know, just by dreaming. You've got to take steps and keep working every day to make something great.
It's amazing because you make reality become dreams, and you talk about dreams becoming reality. I love it, Jay.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to cross my two glasses in your honor. I'm giving you a major master cheer. I commend you for this amazing time together, Jay. I cannot wait till March, and I'm going to be cooking that night for all of us. So it's going to be insane, and we're going to have such a great time. Dear
Fantastic.
friends, big
Cheers.
toast
Thank
to
you so
Jay
much.
Alexander.
Jean Charles.